Often teachers come out of training full of this grand vision of what's going to happen in their classroom, and then they walk in and they're like, well, this isn't what I thought was going to be like. So just making sure that that they realize, no, this really is what it's going to look like, and you do have the tools to work through it, but sometimes they need someone behind them reminding them of that. And so supporting teachers, having some mentoring or supporting in the classroom is, I think, ideal for them, and just reminding them that everything they have in their training is really what they need to be successful in the classroom. But somebody accessible to them that they can just bounce their questions, their insecurities off of, or have someone come in and look.
And so I thank the earth for giving me the things I need, like the sun and the rain and the apple seed.
If you can get through those first few years and manage to feel successful, at least every now and then I think that's enough to keep you going. But if in those early years you're constantly meeting obstacles, you gradually start to feel like a failure. Seasoned teachers who have been through the same process with a similar training and understand what it takes to fully implement what they've learned in their training are often willing and interested in sharing their experiences and giving support to new teachers so that those new teachers don't become discouraged. I remember when I trained 3 to 6, Margaret Stevenson was my trainer, and we had a weekly opportunity to go have tea with her and discuss challenges we were having. It was just bring your questions, bring your challenges, bring your problems. Let's see what we can do about them. When I reflect on the fact that I used that possibility a lot as a young teacher, it saved me, I think, in terms of really accepting that I really could do this work. That really gave me the strength and the understanding that with a little more practice and a little more conversation and a little more work, I really could make it work.
I think that it's a steep learning curve for new teachers, especially if they haven't had experience before working with children at this particular age level. So I think they need a lot of support and a lot of help. Once school starts, I think administration needs to be so supportive of what a steep learning curve it is for them. And sometimes that means giving emotional support in the beginning, helping them be kind to themselves and to know that, okay, maybe today didn't go so well, but let's look at what could be done differently tomorrow so that tomorrow does go better. I think that kind of help and guidance is crucial.
I would love that they go with their eyes new, and they really are working in a laboratory. And it is really a laboratory in which they are going to make mistakes, but they are going to learn it. The philosophy is so strong that they want to do it in the class. We are training them to do their work well. I believe each human being and each classroom has a different feeling because of their own personality. We give them the skills, we give them the tools, but it is the personality of that person that is going to be the one that will permeate the climate or the peaceful environment or not so peaceful, because you transmit what you are to these children.
Another aspect is becoming a leader. They're really a leader when they go into these environments. And so for the children as well as the other adults. And sometimes that can be challenging if they've been an assistant, for example, in the past, and that's been their role for a while, and then now all of a sudden, they're the ones that are in charge of the classroom. It's a delicate balance on how to communicate and how to model for the other adults so that you are a leader, but you're not a dictator. You're someone who's setting a beautiful example of what it is to be human, not just, I'm going to tell you what to do all the time, or this is what you must do. I'm doing this because this is what's best for children, and this is what the children need, and this is why.
A strong Montessori teacher would be a teacher who is very aware of their mission. And the mission of a strong Montessori teacher is to help a child develop their potential. That's the essential quality. Then adding to that, having enough knowledge, having the skills to implement that knowledge, being willing to share that knowledge and willing to use skills, improve skills in order to bring the child to their potential. A teacher coming out of training is a very fragile creature indeed. The person comes with a lot of knowledge, has developed many skills, has taken examinations that have shown them that they know things. So has a certain amount of confidence, but the confidence is very fragile. If the person does not get support of saying, oh, you have taken your training, I want you, I need you, I want you here with me. If the teacher doesn't get the support from other people that says, you're worthy, I trust you, they don't often succeed. If the teacher doesn't get the kind of support that says, I recognize that you have ideas. And okay, well, we tried it that. We've done that. Yes, that seems to work. But to not say to a teacher, we know how to do it better. It erodes confidence. Give them your trust. And then support them as they make mistakes, and they surely will. But they come out of it very quickly if they're trusted.
Obviously, teacher training is just the first step. And then after that, we go deeper and deeper with our philosophy and our practice. I think one of the pivotal points for any Montessori teacher after a training course is understanding our role. We have to create an environment that is designed for the children of the age group. And we spend a lot of time and effort and money, and our personality goes into it, our soul goes into it, and that's the first stage. Then we have to give it to the children. And many people take a long time to do that. Some more quickly than others, but until we can give that environment to the children, it's still ours. And even if we don't say anything when they break something or something is misused, there's still a subtle reaction that children pick up on. And I think that's one of the transformative aspects of becoming a teacher, is being able to accept, I've prepared it, I've put my best into it, and now it's yours to use. We still are always responsible for that environment, maintaining it, but we have to be willing and able to give it away. It is no longer ours. I think that's a real critical part of Montessori teacher training at any level.
I invite my students, if they can, to go earlier to that class, even when they are starting their own class and even when they are taking another one, to take away everything from the class and to sit inside and see how does it feel, and to really make a plan for the class. Even maybe it was another class, I would take out all the shelves and start new. And I will start new exactly to make it my own. To make it my own and see exactly how it works. So what I would like for them is to see how, if they follow that will be much better for them. Instead of only taking something that is already there and trying to adapt themselves to certain things. I want them to feel like it's my class, but it is the class of the children. It's not mine. It's for them. How a child will feel in this class. So I want them to sit on the floor and see how they see, if the child can see the pictures on the walls, what they will see in the plant. So to really live, how would it feel for a child to be in this environment? And that's something that they need to do. Even if it's one new class or it's an old, I will start like it will be a new class.
Providing them with time before school starts to get a beautiful, pristine, organized environment prepared is crucial on the part of a school. And sometimes in public schools, just that is an issue, where a teacher isn't assigned to a school until sometimes a week before school's going to start. and they don't have enough time in that room to really prepare it.
You also need to have your albums that you look to. I think that's one of the most beneficial things for teachers to do every year is to read their albums. Because when you're trying to find something for the children to do, especially in those first days, the answer is in the album. You need to ensure that your classroom is fully prepared. You need all of the materials. This is different than the primary. In the primary, you start the year with not all of the materials on the shelf. At the elementary, you do start the year with all of the materials on the shelf because it's going to be something on that shelf that's going to capture the interest of these children. And so it needs to be there. And once you capture their interest, they're going to want to follow through with an idea. One hopes it will be their idea and not your idea, but it might be your idea in the beginning until you get a work ethic going. But once they get an idea about what they want to do, they have to have the materials to implement the idea. That means they're going to need paper, hot glue, cardboard, stapler, Velcro, paints, everything, because we have no idea what's in the mind of these children. But if they fashion an idea, then you can direct them to the materials that they need in the classroom.
As they get into the year, reminding them to continue to practice. Just because they've now graduated and they have a diploma doesn't mean that the practicing has ended. They need to have time every day or every week to practice those materials, to practice them on their own before they're giving those presentations to children.
I think so many young teachers are so intimidated by the administrator. And creating that rapport with that teacher that says, I'm here to help you. And when I come into your room, I'm observing. It's about meeting afterwards, talking about implementation of suggestions, getting them to feel secure enough to try those types of suggestions, and then meeting back again about, well, how'd it go? Is it working? If it isn't working, let's try this. Not that I have all the answers, but I do have a lot of experience, so you know, I'm there for a support mechanism. So I think it's creating that culture that we all want to learn and be better at what we're doing.
Someone coming right out of training, they do have a set of tools. What's in their album is really their touchstone. It's really what's going to be an anchor for them within the classroom. I think the focus on strengths is always a good starting point for observing in a Montessori classroom. I know when I go into various rooms, first thing I do is look for 10 strengths, 10 things that I see around the room that I believe really fosters the education and the independence and the autonomy of the child. And then I script and take notes of what I see, what interactions I see in the class, what materials are being used in the classroom, and have an open-ended conversation about what I've seen. Listen to them in terms of their own perspectives, because they do have the theory and they do have a vision of what they want to implement.
Observation is, you know, part of the whole Montessori approach, and in their training, you know, teachers that are training to become Montessori teachers do a lot of observation, but I think after they start teaching, we have to continue to allow them to do observations in classrooms that are well functioning so that they can learn from those observations after the fact, you know, once they're on the job.
I still think the second year is close to the first year in terms of being on a learning curve, so I think that mentoring piece is still important. By the time they're in their second year, I think it's really good to start working on observation skills too, and really thinking about why are we doing what we're doing every day in the classroom? So who really is this child? And if I'm going to give him this lesson, why am I giving it to him? Is this the right moment? Is this the right work for this child? And sometimes it takes a year or two for teachers to get to that point where they can really start reflecting on that.
If you have not been in the same environment for 3 years, you need to give yourself that gift of watching a 3-year-old become a 4-year-old, become a 5-year-old. And that's really important. So to really see what Dr. Montessori's intent was, you need to be with a 3-year-old until they become a 6-year-old and see the development that happens.
Dr. Montessori's theory for the elementary child is that it's a formula or it's a recipe, and you can't tamper with it. You need to have all of the aspects there to make it really work. To implement cosmic education, I think you have to have courage. I think you have to understand the principles and the philosophy, but you have to have the courage of your convictions. When you go into your first environment, into your first classroom, you have to keep those principles at the forefront of your mind and not compromise.